Now, the news I'm going to relay really isn't new. It actually was reported as early as 2018, but confirmed in 2020 by George R. Martin himself in an interview with a German newspaper called Die Welt. It's sort of essentially a different approach to how they would have done season 8, so let me not pause it anymore. What is the big news? Well, apparently the original idea for the producers of Game of Thrones was to have 3 feature films and not sort of regular episodes for season 8. So instead of the normal episodes, they'd have 3 feature films and sort of like these really big budgets behind those 3 films to give a better vision of what they wanted to do at the end with season 8. And this was planned as early as season 3, but HBO decided that that wasn't a good idea. They told Martin that, we're a cable channel, we don't do movies. Obviously, they do TV movies, they do Sopranos and Deadwood, but for whatever reason, the HBO people were like, no, they weren't very sympathetic to the idea. And so, as we now know, that Benioff and Weiss eventually did 6 episodes in season 8 instead of the regular 10. But again, the original idea was to use 3 films instead of the normal kind of episodic format. Well, I have to say this does change things a little bit because almost all the blame has gone to Benioff and Weiss, and I think that's for the most part deserved. However, I think the narrative has sometimes been skewed that HBO was completely helpless and they didn't do anything to either hurt or help the series. But this news kind of puts us in sharp relief that they also had kind of hand in putting season 8 in the way it is. Now, would feature films have really done a better job? I'm not so sure. I mean, the regular episodes that were done actually were very long. Some of them were, 2 hours long. So it's not clear that it would be that big of a change. However, I'm not here to be partisan. I just want to give out the news to Game of Thrones people, fans, and as well as other critics. And yeah, this has actually been really underreported that HBO sort of had a hand in sort of constraining what they were going to do in season 8. Now, of course, even if they did do the feature films, obviously there's a big chance they would have still screwed it up, and the format would not have really helped them at all in any real shape or form. However, it's good to know the full news, and the idea that they were locked into 6 episodes and we're not going to do anything else is not true. They probably did have different ideas of how to do season 8, but the HBO executives were not exactly sympathetic to what they were up to. It's still not clear why, aside from the budgetary reasons, they didn't decide to do it, but according to George R. Martin, they did have several different ideas for season 8, but they didn't like those ideas, so they went back to to what we had, which was the six episodes instead of the regular 10, and episodic television instead of 3 feature films. So what do you guys think? Would this really have helped or hurt Game of Thrones? Would this have saved season 8 or at least made it less bad? I don't know. I still think it would have been pretty terrible if their writing was going to be of the same quality, but again, you don't know. If they were going to do feature films, they might have had a different thought process or production process. Alright, this has been Thrones Analyzed on new news on season 8 of Game of Thrones and Benioff and Weiss and HBO, and the controversies over the series' decline. Thrones Analyzed. If you like the content, please hit the like button and or subscribe. Thank you very much for listening, and be safe. Thanks again.